We are androgynous. We are those of no pronouns. Except in the case of we or us when referring to ourselves in the first person. Yes, and ourselves, that's right. We have been watching. We have noticed disturbing trends in media consumer consumption. It appears that the general public are sick of cookie-cutter generic bullshit, but are unable to articulate what it is they want. If you are even a little bit capable and creative, you must create and captivate an audience. Make content now. Now is the time. We cannot wait any longer. We are watching. We are everywhere. We are androgynous.
Tad O'Malley has been making claims.
Claims about what?
You and everyone you know has a piece of DNA in your genome, put there without your knowing it.
Put there by whom?
Well, that's the question of the day.
This is an internet lunatic. You're not saying you believe him.
Hold on, Agent Einstein. You're talking to a scientist.
Forgive me, Assistant Director. It may sound insensitive, but the suggestion is pure science fiction.
What I'm saying, Agent Einstein, is that the facts, as I understand them, cannot be discounted out of hand.
No one has the right or the ability to tamper with your DNA.
Unless we gave them that ability.
You say they're tampering with our DNA, that they're able to shut down our immune systems by the addition of something to our DNA.
Yes, but I don't know how exactly.
Or how it's being triggered.
I don't know that either.
Or why it's happening now.
What can we possibly do?
We need to act quickly.
You were right about that.
Well, I was wrong about the science. I was wrong about what's causing it. Dead wrong, in fact.
But it's clearly a widespread failure of our immune systems.
Through gene tampering. A virus within a virus that was put there through the smallpox vaccine. It's what these men are calling the Spartan virus.
We have to figure this out. What's wrong with the science?
Okay. The Spartan virus removes the adenosine deaminase gene from your DNA. Remove the ADA gene and your immune system will simply vanish.
Yeah, but I'm not getting sick.
It's only a matter of time.
Okay. So how does it work? How does the virus remove the ADA gene?
A process called CRISPR-Cas.
CRISPR-Cas9. RNA and a protein cutting genes at exact locations.
Exactly, but in this instance used as a weapon.
The ultimate weapon. The ability to depopulate the planet. To kill everyone but the chosen. By tampering with their DNA.
Through gene editing.
Why do such a thing and lie about it? Our own government.
Your own government lies as a matter of course, as a matter of policy. The Tuskegee experiments on black men in the 30s, Henrietta Lacks.
What are they trying to do?
That's the missing piece.
But it's not hard to imagine. A government hiding, hoarding technology for 70 years at the expense of human life and the future of the planet. Driven not only by corporate greed, but a darker objective.
The takeover of America.
And then the world itself, by any means necessary, however violent, or cruel, or efficient. By severe drought, brought on by weather wars, conducted secretly using aerial contaminants and high-altitude electromagnetic waves. In a state of perpetual war. To create problem, reaction, solution scenarios to distract, enrage, and enslave American citizens at home. With tools like the Patriot Act and the National Defense Authorization Act, which abridge the Constitution in the name of national security. The militarization of police forces in cities across the U.S., the building of prison camps by the Federal Emergency Management Agency with no stated purpose. The corporate takeover of food and agriculture, pharmaceuticals and healthcare, even the military in clandestine agendas to fatten, dull, sicken, and control a populace already consumed by consumerism.
And I encourage you all to go shopping more.
A government that taps your phone, collects your data, and monitors your whereabouts with impunity. A government preparing to use that data against you when it strikes. And the final takeover begins.
The takeover of America.
By a well-oiled and well-armed multinational group of elites that will cull, kill, and subjugate.
Happening as we sit here.
It's happening all around us.
The other shoe waiting to drop.
It'll probably start on a Friday. The banks will announce a security action necessitating their computers to go offline all weekend.
Digital money will disappear.
They can just steal your money?
Followed by the detonation of strategic electromagnetic pulse bombs to knock out major grids.
What will seem like an attack on America by terrorists or Russia.
An invasion of the U.S.
The Russians tried it in '47.
like that would ever happen in this world. How are you guys doing? This is your daily Noonerino, and I do apologize for not returning as early as I would have liked to. Life gets in the way as it does. But I digress. I asked you in my short that I posted. I hate those damn things, but they're kind of quick and easy. Got me through college, I should say. But anyway, I had a couple of comments that I would like to speak to. And my Mind, Body, and Soil, which is a YouTube channel, a friend of mine, she asked me to talk about survival, end of the world as we know it, stuff like that. And then another person, only my own voice, asked perhaps if you have experienced any synchronicities or an increase in synchronicities. Maybe you could discuss reality. It seems like all of reality is designed as a distraction, in my opinion. Indefinite breadcrumb trails and rabbit holes which eternally attempt to draw one's attention away. In my opinion, it seems like there's something to it, which intends to lead each of us further away from what's really important. Our inner developmental growth and liberation. It seems almost as though reality has been engineered, hijacked, a present, ongoing, continuous Mandela effect of sorts. I don't know. You can talk about anything, of course. Smiley face, kind regards, exclamation. I love that. That's great. End of podcast. You pretty much did it for me there. Thanks. I actually want to combine the pair of these two comments. And ultimately, one leads to the other, which leads to the other in a kind of inception level event, which has already been happening. And no, I want to speak to both of them. And by the way, if you even give a rat's ass about your health, about your mental maturity, and how your body communicates with the earth, you have to go check out Mind, Body, and Soil over on YouTube. I'll have to put some links in the description below so that you guys can go check her channel out. She knows her stuff, and anybody who knows me knows that I kind of know my stuff there as well, so I know she's legit. Anyway, guys, let's move on forward into this whole opinion piece, because this is basically my educated opinion on both of those subjects. Just as a preamble, when I talk about survival, I'm not talking necessarily about bushcraft or prepping. I'm talking about the art of not dying and somehow making it through any situation, whether it be social, whether it be financial, whether it be life and death, all of those things. Now, we're also looking at the mental aspect that only my own voice presented regarding. I'm going to draw from the synchronicities and our perception of reality and how things have been kind of mangled and twisted. And some of it's our fault too. It's not like we're not to blame as well, because there's a lot to be said there. Some very smart people, way above my pay grade, which is like dog shit, but like people like Jordan Peterson, who have stated, like, it's the cynicism towards politics that allowed the really bad politicians to get into power, because we are so subservient to their power that we become cynical about power holders, and we don't want anything to do with it, so we don't get involved, and we further our subjugation. So leading into a synchronistic aspect of that is, well, look at these Soros-funded groups like BLM, Antifa. The list can go on and on, and it can also go country to country with different educational systems. And usually, when a country isn't when a country's internal government isn't taking care of a public system, financially, well, what happens is other benefactors will move into place and invest. And this is where you get the outside influence from corporations that want, button pushers and lever pullers. I know I'm going into conspiracy territory here, but hang on, before you say nay. A, you sound like a horse when you say that, but B, quite frankly, no, you can't expect books to print themselves and pencils to magically appear like magic wands. No, it doesn't happen like that. Like, somebody's footing the bill at some points, and usually it's people with corporate interest to train the next generation into what they want to basically groom for their, I guess to say, path of choice. And I'm talking about the children's path of choice, which is usually, it's like sorting coins. The coin machine where you sort coins out. You get the nickels, the dimes, and the pennies, and they all kind of go into their own little slots. That's what they do. That's the whole system in a nutshell, basically, right now as it stands. I mean, it used to be different. Teachers used to kind of care, some of them anyway. I even believe that a lot of teachers in the system believe that they care, because based on the curriculum and what they want to do is help. But this generation of teachers are also very twisted in some senses. And I know a lot of teachers, actually, and they're not all great, but some of them are really great. So, I mean, everyone is different. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of a scenario, so I will give it that. I don't want to be broad in my brushstroke here. However, that being said, there's a perception. Now, this is going into our perception of our reality. There's a perception that we need to trust the experts. And why not? I mean, if somebody else did the work to learn a thing, then why not trust them? Especially if they have no malevolent attitude towards you. But here's the thing, is that you don't know, and that kind of goes into faith, and you trust in other people, and you have that faith. Sorry, I'm just going to get my damn TV to fit the screen of my Raging Fast 2060 RTX. What was that? NVIDIA. Yeah, I almost forgot the damn brand name. But going back to what I was saying there, yeah, we trust the experts, and then we get hit with things like what Trudeau said to us, like trust the science. Sorry, like trust the science. Don't question the science, even though science is built on questioning the science, questioning hypotheses, trying to prove them wrong. That is the course of science. So the whole proposition in the first place, it's completely bogus. And people still eat it up, chew it up, and they go repeat it like little parrots. Trust the science. There's a really good comedian, I can't remember his name. I'm sure somebody will say it in the comments there. Oh, shit, I can't remember it. Anyway, it's pretty funny. You should check that out. I'll have to link that if I can find that. I'll put it into the description. But anyway, back to reality. Our reality is so skewed now because, there's a mainstream media that a lot of people just trust and they eat it up. And this leads to, not every prepper is a smart person. However, there's a certain breed of people that just know when something's not right, and they just like, hey, okay, all right, I'm going to pretty much make sure if things go south, I'm going to be ready. Now, nobody can be ready for everything. I mean, hey, if an extinction level event happens, like an asteroid that killed the dinosaurs, good luck with that. I hope you have a bunker 30, feet underground. But I digress. Also, there's so many other events that could take place that you just, wouldn't be able to overcome. However, in the case of complete financial collapse, and now you're fighting your neighbors and all this other stuff. I mean, now we start getting into the whole survival concept, which, by the way, has been promoted with shows like The Walking Dead and so many others. It's a new thing. It's like a new fad. It's almost predictive programming level of getting people ready, which, by the way, is the definition of predictive programming. It's getting people used to a concept and kind of easily inserting the seeds of the concept so that they can kind of be almost justified and accepted when it does happen, because usually these things always happen. It's like the conspiracy theory concept, you know, it's cliche to say now, which is actually kind of funny and in our favor, that the only difference between the conspiracy theory and the truth is about 6 months to a year these days. So, but I digress. I'm just trying to be funny. And by the way, like I said, this is anti-journalism. This is strictly an opinion piece. I'm just, like I said, making educated synopses of what I see as a reality analyst. But anyway, the synchronicities that I see are the events that keep happening, like with a particular MO. And I'm talking about specifically, like, okay, let's compare the pandemic to AIDS. Let's compare the pandemic to the H1N1 release. Let's compare the pandemic to the SARS. I mean, the only thing that really was a beneficial thing was the concert after SARS, you know, that SARS Fest thing. Otherwise, everything else fits the exact same MO, I guess you could say. However, the one that ended with SARS Fest was a little bit different, because they actually did shut places down. Mind you, they didn't have the mechanisms in place to be able to keep it down. I mean, all the boomers out there, they were like not having it after 2 days. It's like, all right, you know what? Start opening doors. We're fine. And they did. And then it's like, oh, hey, let's have a concert. Anyway, like I said, this is an opinion piece, so just bear with me. I'm also not a medical expert, and I'm not giving financial advice. And, yeah, if you don't like me, you can, well, have a nice day. But the whole pandemic thing did happen pretty much several years after the Trans-Pacific Partnership was signed. And I've done bits on this before. And those synchronicities prior all had, I guess you could say, a certain baseline that made them very similar. And by the way, Fauci is behind a lot of this, pretty much to the point of like a serial aspect. But yeah, he was part of the AZT development that turned HIV into full-blown AIDS, which in and of itself created an entire industry with condoms, which were kind of like the masks during the pandemic. There's a whole lot of parallels that you really want to consider. And these are the synchronicities that I'm seeing. Going back to SARS, it was like, crap, it almost worked. And since it didn't, we'll give them a concert. There's probably a more organic and maybe a whole lot more to it than that. But, I mean, I am probably being, a reductionist here. But moving forward, we're seeing the same kind of thing happening right now with all these, they can't get away with the boosters and stuff anymore. They're still doing it in a lot of countries, and it's still kind of happening, but it's definitely waning. When I say waning, I mean waiting for the next strain, maybe. But they've already got the systems in place. The Trans-Pacific Partnership, by the way, is an agreement between 14 countries to basically integrate all of their, basically make all of their internal governments compatible and in agreement with the other 13 countries that they were involved with. And that way they could interoperate, like their airlines, their energy collection distribution, pharmaceutical research and development. It goes into manufacturing industry and shipping. Absolutely. Shipping is a big part of that too. And the whole thing once it was agreed upon back in 2015, it moved forward. And this was the period where every nation that was involved basically developed all of their legislations. And they were just waiting for the other shoe to drop. And one day it did. And Fauci was at the fucking helm of that. So, anyway, that's just a little bit of, input into my whole synchronicity aspect here. And thank you to Only My Own Voice for asking me about this, because I thought that was actually a very interesting thing, because the reality of that was you got a lot of mask wearers. I mean, I still see people driving their cars with their windows rolled up with a mask on. You fucking loser. Are you stupid? Do you have any idea how many nanometers a fucking flu virus is, and how many nanometers the gaps and spaces in the fiber of that cloth is? Are you a fucking moron? That's what I say to these people. I don't say it to their faces, though. But, you know what I mean? Sorry, I needed the beer after that. But, let me tell you. The synchronicities are there, though. If you go back and you look at the AIDS virus and HIV, the deployment, the testing of the vaccines, which actually were done even more underground back in those days, because they could, give it to the people in Africa, they could give it to people of, the queer persuasion, like, in San Francisco and other places, and pay them money to do it. It was completely subversive back then. Now they just, because of the agreement between these other nations, they can just mandate it. And then you get groups like the WEF, where you have this whole conflict of interest between government and corporate interests, basically just converging. And then, it's all kinds of bad news for everybody, Going back to my statement about Jordan Peterson that he made, our cynicism towards politics is disrupting our ability to take ground and have a voice. And we've allowed ourselves to be censored. We've allowed ourselves to be completely, fed like freaking chickens and, put in our place, in our fucking pens. That depresses me. And that's why survival is a very important thing. And survival, it's not enough to survive. You have to live. But that means you have to get after it yourself. Don't be penned in. You need to find yourself a homestead. You need to fucking learn how to raise chickens, make food. You need to learn how to fucking dig your own bunker, just in case that asteroid does hit. You don't actually have to build one, but you have to know how. But I mean, there's a whole lot of aspects of this, And I think I'm going to end it there. I've said a lot, and I've said nothing at all. I was never here. However, this is and has been your daily Noonerino, because it's always noon somewhere, and I'll always be there. All right, guys. Keep it together. Keep it tight. Don't fuck around. Peace.